Welcome to Twin Win Unfiltered. So today, what do you want to talk about?
So I feel like we have to address my health journey.
Oh, like our number one question we get right now.
Everybody
People are
wants to
so
know.
interested in how you lost weight and what happened in your life.
I
And
know.
people just have so many comments.
Yeah, which is fine. Like, I don't mind. And I try to answer some, but it's hard to get to everybody. I also think it's funny to address real quick before we get started how you have started to go a little more dark with your hair. And
Oh,
my bangs.
But look,
I know. And my bangs are gone. And I've cut my hair a little shorter. I feel like we're looking a lot more alike lately.
oh, we look so much like, well, it's because I've been wearing glasses for like 2 months straight too.
So, like, okay, look into that camera. Look
Yeah.
at how much we look alike.
Well, I think it's also your weight loss. Because
Well,
you
yeah.
have this thin, because it was always like I had the long face, you had the rounder face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. How far back are we going?
We could do a whole podcast on the twin connection,
Oh, gosh.
which would be weird. And we would definitely get followers off.
jumping.
I think people don't realize when you are identical twins
Yeah.
and like even mirror twins, which is even more, connected DNA, unique, and you are one egg that splits, it's very common for one of the babies to get more of the
Nutrients. Yeah.
and just basic health genes.
Right.
And so growing up, it was pretty evident that I just was the healthier twin.
Yeah.
So even through our childhood, like if there was a sickness to catch or like a challenge to have, you had it.
Totally.
Where I just played all the sports.
Yep.
I, joined all the athletic things, da-da-da-da-da. And we really didn't realize, we always knew that you couldn't quite, you were always on the teams.
Yeah.
But you weren't quite at the same level
Level.
as me.
And I was a really good team manager.
She looked the best in the basketball shorts,
Yeah,
passing out the water.
that's true.
But
But I never made it onto the court.
no, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I had my role.
You did. And you were always part of the team.
Yeah.
We were always side by side. We always did it together. But we didn't really realize the difference in that athletic ability or how different our health was, I think, until babies.
Probably, yeah. Probably a couple years after.
Yeah,
Or
it's really,
around that age.
yeah, around early 20s is
Yeah.
when we really realized, hey, wait, we are really different
Yes.
because of the health.
Yes.
That's how far back, and now go from there.
Yeah. So I've always had like just health issues.
Yeah.
And just always struggled with them.
Really going to the more connective tissue, undefined, autoimmune type issues.
Diseases. I think it's crazy, like not to go into detail, but my health has actually led to like some pretty major surgeries.
Oh, Lynds, you went on a family trip. Miles was 9, 10?
Oh, he was like maybe, this was before he got sick. So,
What?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, then he must have been 5.
Yeah.
You, Nana, Miles, Justin went to Hawaii,
Yeah.
10-day trip. You spent 9 days in the hospital.
Yeah.
Because altitude of the plane,
Yeah.
twisted up your intestines and your organs.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that's really interesting about your specific, illness with the connective tissue is you're very elastic.
Yeah.
So like all your organs and stuff like shift.
They have extra elasticity.
Yeah.
And so moving and stuff.
But like the altitude.
Yeah.
So like now when we fly, you don't eat for like 24 hours.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So like you have missed a 10-day vacation
Yeah.
with your family because you were in the hospital. Or
Yeah.
like you came back and we've had 2, 3, 4 hospital stays
Yeah.
since your mid-20s
Yeah.
for major, week-long recovery surgeries.
Yeah.
For things based on the connective tissue.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's wild. And the thing is like, I've always been super quiet about it too. like besides you, mom,
Well, family.
like, yeah,
Yeah,
and obviously Justin and stuff, but I've never wanted it to be like who I am.
for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's like just not what I want to be known for.
Yeah. It was
you
not your
know?
defining like characteristic.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Now I feel like
Almost to a fault, because it's like you would push through things when it wasn't in your best interest.
sure. Yeah.
When it was making it more detrimental for you
Sure.
because you didn't want to miss out or not be there for Miles or not be part of, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I remember Justin was playing in a band, like subbing in for like playing drums
Yeah.
in Seattle.
Yeah.
And we had been planning for like a month to go to this. Do you remember this?
No.
And that night, you had such a bad migraine. This was probably 15 years ago. I ended up going down and you couldn't make it and you were devastated. But Justin and I were like, you cannot come down. Like, you were in bed all day. You were sick all day, but you were determined to get out of bed and go. And you were so upset that you couldn't, but like you physically could not make it there.
Yeah.
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 Yes.
And this is not a knock on any type of medical like industry or Western medicine versus Eastern medicine, nothing like that. It's what works for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Having, autoimmune disorders, having connective tissue disorders, having, just lots of different diagnoses over my lifetime, I was always treated by Western medicine and with medications. And so probably around like 20 something years old, early 20s, is when we realized like this has been my whole life. And
No, you started taking them in the early 20s.
yeah.
And you were probably on 12 to 15 prescriptions a day.
I feel like what really happened was for my whole life, I kind of was a little weaker of a twin. And then when we hit about our early 20s, I could start to see the evidence of like you would do the STP, like the Seattle to Portland bike ride. I couldn't physically do that. I would be able to do like a triathlon, but I could do one. And you would then literally do another one the next month. My body needed a lot more recovery time.
Yep.
I had some like medical conditions with, internal stuff that you didn't have to deal with. I had a bunch of connective tissue issues, lupus, things that you never had to deal with. And it was prescriptions. And this, there's so many details that go into it, but and I remember one day, and actually living in the little house in Snohomish, you and Jackie met at my house because it was a central meeting spot, and you guys were going to jump on your bike and go riding. And I was at home, and you guys showed up there because it was a meeting spot. And I remember when you guys got there, I was like laying on the couch. I felt horrible that day. I had a migraine. My body hurt. I just was in a really like crappy, physical space. And you guys jumped on your bikes and just took off riding. And I remember being so upset about not being able to do that and do those things. So it was taking this mental toll on me, probably around like, 32 at that point. So that just kept going and going. And I tried so many things like, doctors would tell me swim, do yoga, do this, do that. And I just kept adding. But
and your weight fluctuated.
Oh,
like
yeah.
every 6 months.
Every 6 months.
Because that's what people see. They're like,
Yes.
oh, Lyndsay lost all this weight.
Yeah.
It's like, that's just the exterior, part of your health journey. And you've done that 10 times.
Oh, easy.
Because the doctors would say, cut out gluten, cut out dairy, whatever, but it would make an improvement, but it wouldn't take away the pain. It wouldn't take away the, challenges that you were feeling.
Right.
So then you would get discouraged and say, well, forget it. I'm not taking that away anymore.
Right.
And then you would go back into the cycle. So
Right.
it was this cycle for about 5 years of trying different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we get to like late 30s.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like just honestly being so desperate
Yeah.
for a change and saying, like, I'm there. Like,
Yeah.
I have to do
Mm-hmm.
something that I started researching, listening to podcasts, listening to, people on YouTube, reading books, doing whatever I could.
You don't read books.
Audiobooks.
Okay. Thank you. You were listening to books.
Audiobooks.
I was like, come on. We're not about to lie that
No.
you read a book.
No,
Come on.
audiobooks. So I finally discovered what these people kept talking about integrative medicine. And I was like, I wonder what this is. I wonder what, this integrative medicine is. So then I started researching integrative medicine. Okay.
I would have researched on TikTok if I had it then.
You would have.
Yeah.
So I started looking into that. I started looking into, different diets, different autoimmune, what do they call it? AMI or something, auto or AI,
It's like an autoimmune friendly diet.
yeah, whatever. So I started looking into those, trying those, doing da 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 da. Da. Well, long story short, I found a doctor in close by, about 45 minutes away, who I met with, and we had a long interview process. And she basically said,
No, yeah. Say what she said, because that's the part that always challenges me.
yeah. And I remember she said to me, and maybe this is the part you're thinking, I don't know. But she said to me, I'll take you on as a patient, but I have to know
Mm-hmm.
that you are absolutely at your breaking point.
Yeah.
You are desperate
Yep.
for change, and you are desperate to feel better.
Mhm.
She goes, I am not going to waste your time or my time
Mm-hmm.
just trying to help you
Yeah.
with little things.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, this will be a complete lifestyle change.
Yep.
And we will change everything about your life. But I guarantee you will feel better.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'm ready. And she goes, no, no, no. I want you to leave. I want you to go home, take a few days, and think about
Mm-hmm.
how desperate are you.
Yeah.
I want you to be able to walk in here and say, I would do anything,
Yeah.
anything, give up anything, do anything it takes to feel better.
Yeah.
And I genuinely was at that point.
I remember.
And there's been so many times prior to that that I thought I was there,
yeah.
that I thought I was ready for that, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready to give up something I liked or
Or
give
when
up.
you went to dinner with Miles and Justin at, Mod Pizza,
Yeah.
and you were smelling the pizza, you were like, you know what, I'll just have one bite.
Right.
You
I
know?
wasn't ready to give up everything.
Absolutely.
So I got to the point where I was ready to give up
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
So I went back and told her, I said, nope, I'm ready. This is it. And when I was started with her, I was on probably about 15 medications, and they were, everything, all the hard medications.
We didn't really realize how hard the medications
Yeah.
were or how bad they were
long term.
when you were on them.
Yeah.
And she shed a lot of light. And
Yeah.
I remember you were so upset
Yes.
that you had been put on these medications for 10 years
Yeah.
when they were intended to be on for 3 months.
Yeah.
And
Some you shouldn't be on for more than 3 weeks.
yeah. And they, have these side effects of early onset,
Dementia.
and stuff. And so you were so upset. But I remember it was like, I don't know, maybe a month of you being in this program of the new lifestyle, the new eating, the new da 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 da. And you went through this whole guilt.
Yeah. It was like a morning.
Yeah. Of feeling like you missed out on life because
Yeah.
you hadn't done this earlier.
Or could I have been a better mom?
yeah.
Could I have been a better daughter? Could I have been a better sister? Could I have been a better boss?
Yeah.
Could I have whatever if I had done this earlier?
Yeah.
If I had figured this out earlier.
Because you were in so much physical pain
Mhm.
that you spent so much time, sleeping or resting or not going to events or
Yeah.
whatever because
Or
you
going
couldn't.
with migraines
Mhm.
that I was half there and
Yeah.
half not there.
Yeah. But she put you on this diet, which was essentially a reset your gut diet.
So because I was on so many medications, we had to start with a full detox. So, and obviously she didn't like pull me off all these medications in one day. That
No.
would never have worked.
Yeah.
But we had to slowly detox my system from some very hard and aggressive medications. And so there were so many phases to it. So we started that. Then we did a full detox of the system. And basically what she does and what was so interesting about it is she does so much research on, okay, when was the first time you or your mother or parents or grandmother, all these people in your life, you interview all these people. When's the first time they can remember that you got food poisoning? So mom remembers you and I got a bad case of food poisoning when we were like 2 years old.
What did we eat?
She remembers. I don't remember now.
Probably fried chicken from a gas station, knowing our Florida upbringing.
Exactly. Who knows? So horrible food poisoning. So the doctor's like, okay, so what happens when you get bad food poisoning as a child? It actually breaks down a layer of the gut, and you have to repair that layer of gut before you go back onto a regular diet. But we all don't know this, right? Because we don't study the science of the body. So we get bad food poisoning, we let the child heal from it, and then we put them right back on their regular diet again. Well, in some cases, like mine, where I was already weaker, I got bad food poisoning. I was better from it. And then mom put me right back on my regular diet. Well, my system never recovered. So I had to go all the way back to that point and rebuild the gut. So I literally went back to an infant diet.
I remember.
So we went all the way back to introducing soft foods and only certain types. And then you slowly worked in certain types of like meshy foods. I mean, they all have names, right? And then you slowly worked in like solids, and then you slowly worked in like vegetables and
there was
fruits.
no beans for like a year.
No.
Yeah.
No like legumes, no, beans, or no meat, no dairy, no, I mean, so many things that you don't eat. And you're constantly doing blood work during this entire process until they can see that your whole digestive system is completely repaired and back to really full health where it should be. And then you can start introducing real foods into your system and seeing how your body takes those. So it's like an extreme elimination diet.
Yeah.
So I've been back on normal food for
6 months?
No, for a year.
Oh, okay.
For a whole year now.
But you did cut out some foods.
But there's certain foods that I personally don't digest right.
Yep.
So I am now
gluten-free.
Yeah, totally no gluten. I don't eat meat. I eat very, very limited dairy.
Well, you eat a lot of cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just like limited dairy. I don't, I have a limited amount of sugar every day. You know, there's just certain things. And then like I don't ever have sodas. I have half caffs now of coffees and only one a day, you know, so not too much caffeine. You know, there's just certain things. And then also working in a lot of different vitamins that my body would not get from foods that I needed to put in physically into my body, and so on and so forth. So over this big experience, I've been able to cut out a number of medications that were very bad for me.
Probably 10 of your 15.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah.
And I've been able to discover foods that were really bad for me that I couldn't digest and were very unhealthy for me. I've been able to maintain a healthy weight for my body that our bodies are intended to carry a weight for. I sleep now, which I had diagnosed insomnia, which is actually incredibly rare to have diagnosed insomnia. Most people say they have insomnia because they don't sleep, but you very rarely find somebody who's actually been diagnosed with it through a sleep clinic who genuinely just cannot sleep with any, I couldn't sleep with any sleep aids, anything. So now I sleep. My headaches are under control. I mean,
You
all of it.
exercise.
I exercise every single day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a complete lifestyle change. And that is what I've done. So I giggle at the comments online about me taking Ozempic or doing other
surgeries or whatever.
Because it's actually.
But the truth is, you probably would have tried those things. You were so desperate.
Sure, if I thought they would have made me feel better.
Yeah.
But it wasn't even for me. It wasn't the weight.
No.
The weight wasn't my bother. It was how I felt and my physical aches.
Yeah.
The pains.
You used to try to describe it to me like it hurt inside your body.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And so that has been a long time of really experiencing differences.
Mm-hmm.
Well, really 2 years. And that's just changed my life.
Yeah. And you and I have talked about, I went through a huge guilt time because I felt like, why am I not the sixth sister?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So that was hard for me. But I love that you found this new healthy place in your life. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Because I can't grasp not eating hamburgers.
Yeah.
But
you're not desperate for a change.
Yeah.
So you're not going to make a change, and you don't need to.
Yeah.
I got to a point where it took me 30 some years to get to the point where I was so desperate that I would have done anything.
Yeah. I mean, I admire it because there are things that I should do, right? Like you say to me, like, I shouldn't eat the sugar that I eat. You know,
Yeah.
I love candy.
Yeah.
Or I should cut out gluten because I'm sure that's like, I have my own tummy issues, right? But I don't have that discipline, and I love the food. So I take it with the pain.
Yeah.
But I don't understand the level of pain.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't have that. Because I have discipline, obviously, in other areas.
Yeah.
But it's just different. That's
That's one thing that I think has shocked me more than anything. I wouldn't have considered myself a disciplined person.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a disciplined person.
Yeah.
I'm way more on the creative, free
like just
spirit.
do it when you want to. Yeah.
Type of person. I'm not I'm going to set this regiment and set this goal and just go get it. And that's not my personality. That's your personality. This has taught me that, wow.
You can.
I guess I could be a disciplined person.
Yeah.
I've obviously done it.
Yeah.
I've proven it to myself. There just has to be other things I want real bad, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think now that I'm through and found what has made me better and learned so much about medications
Mm-hmm.
and why it was so bad to be put on so many medications and to just say, okay, I'll take that. Yeah, I'll take that.
Well, and,
yeah,
and
I'll
the
take
other
that.
thing is this medication was really just taking care of the side effects of this medication, which was really taking care of the side effects of this medication, which was none of them were actually treating the issue.
Right.
They were all just treating the symptoms of each other.
Yeah. And now that I've learned all of that, it's I'm way more open about all these things I've gone through.
Yeah.
Because,
You feel like there's an end.
yeah. And I feel like maybe somebody else could have that, 20 years that they don't have to go through all of that,
Mhm.
But I still even now making certain decisions for myself, not eating certain stuff or whatever. I don't want ever, people say, well, where do you guys want to go to eat? Lyndsay, you pick because you have all the restrictions. No, I don't want to pick. I want everybody else to decide where to go. I will figure out what to eat when I get there. I never want it to be about me because that seems like the focus is on my illness or my thing. Instead, I want it to be about just everybody still. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So, Linz, that's it. That is in a nutshell. Not that that's just it, because that's a huge journey. And you still have, it's not like you're healed from this.
Right.
You just now know how to
manage
it so that life is good.
Yeah.
And it's not constantly chasing a solution that's not there.
Exactly. and enjoying life,
Exactly.
feeling good, when I'm out and about doing things or when I wake up in the morning because I actually slept
Mm-hmm.
or, you know what I mean? Being able to exercise, not feeling like I can't do
Mm-hmm.
things because, my body hurts or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Hopefully this brings somebody a piece of hope and they go and, research on their own behalf. I mean, that's a big thing we know from our kids, your health, life. You have to advocate for yourself.
You have to. Absolutely have to. Well, you've watched Twin Win Unfiltered. Thanks for watching. If you like, please subscribe. And you can listen Apple Podcasts, you can listen Spotify, YouTube, or anywhere else that they stream podcasts.
You never let us go to a good breakfast place.
If you really want breakfast, I'll go get some with you.